Good evening, everybody. It's Maggie Georgopoulos, the author of the upcoming book Up the Ladder in a Skirt, and obviously the creator of the program in the same name. Over the weekend and the coming days of next week, I'm going to be launching my new program. So you'll be hearing more about it through my videos as part of my 30-day program, and also I'm going to be doing some Facebook Live episodes as well. But what I would actually like to talk to you this evening and in my day 17 video is overcoming fear and anxiety. It's an interesting one, and it goes back to mental health, which is something that I've mentioned a number of times over the last 17 days. We often look at anxiety as something that is easy to deal with and quite often a little bit silly, and the reaction in general from people is, hey, just get over it. But how do you deal with it if it's something that is irrational? And generally anxieties are irrational. They're not something that you can rationalize or even make sense sometimes. So let's take this one for an example. I've been swimming since I was a little tack. Being from Australia, it's fairly common. Done a lot of open water swimming, especially ocean going swimming, and my partner recently for Christmas bought me an 8 swim pass for open water swimming here in Scotland. Now, the fundamental difference between swimming in Scotland and swimming in Australia is the temperature of the water. And in Scotland, the temperature of the water is freezing, to say the least, and that's when it's supposedly warm. And I did the Wee Beastie last year, which is a 750 metre swim and a 5k run. Happily was the last person across the line, but the big shock about it was when I first put my face in the water in the swim, and I have never in my life felt anything so cold. So we rock up tonight for me to have my first go at some open water swimming practice because he bought this for me, and for no rational reason and for absolutely no sense at all, I could not bring myself to get into the water. Now, I'm fairly lucky. I don't suffer from a long-term anxiety disorder. It's not something that affects me generally. This is just something that's kind of overcoming a fear that's developed as a result of how cold the water was when I swam last year. So I went along, I stood around, I watched what was going on, and I should be fine the next time I go swimming. But that's not the case for everybody that actually has some sort of anxiety disorder or something that triggers a massive anxiety attack. I have a number of really close friends and highly intelligent, highly successful people who actually suffer from anxiety disorders. And these aren't something that you can just send someone home and say, hey, go deal with it, it'll be okay, or you're being stupid, get over it. That's not how it works. By the very nature of the fact that it is generally something that is irrational that sets it off, this is something that, takes a personal process to deal with and sometimes just can't actually be rationally dealt with. And what do we do as leaders or people within a workplace in order to support people who have these issues? Because quite often they can irrationally affect aspects of our work life, which means that not that we can't do our jobs, but means that we need someone who is understanding, who is open and flexible in order to develop an environment for us to be able to grow our careers and also be able to deal with these anxiety issues. So this is something that as a leader and as somebody who is in a position to influence others within a workplace, it is really important for us to consider how we deal with these, how we deal with people, and how we open the lines of communication to somebody who's trying to deal with an irrational anxiety. Whatever brings that anxiety on or what may have caused it may not make sense to us as somebody who is observing what's going on, but it may not even make sense to the individual. But it is something that we need to be open to being able to deal with in a flexible manner and an understanding manner. That doesn't mean that we, almost be patronizing in pretending that we actually understand where the person comes from, because most of the time we won't. And that makes perfect sense that we won't understand that. But it does mean that we need to be open to and careful and gentle in the way that we deal with these individuals and the way that we support them in order to help them work through the anxieties and be able to continue to successfully do the job that is actually in front of them. So it is important as a leader to be open to this. And thank you very much for sticking with me and actually working through this particular one today, because anxieties and fears that can come up within the aspects of our jobs may be short-lived, but there are many people out there who have these disorders which can be almost debilitating, and we need to be open to supporting them so that they can actually continue to be as successful and as higher contributor to their roles within the workplace as they have always been. So my name is Maggie Georgopoulos, and as I mentioned, I'm the author of the upcoming book, Up the Ladder in a Skirt, and I look forward to speaking to you more about Up the Ladder in a Skirt and what it can potentially do for you.